price standpoint, what's taking place here this week, why we are so certain that the spot XRP ETFs will be live either by Friday, either you're looking at Thursday would be the 30th, right? This is Tuesday, October 28th. So on Thursday, it would be the 30th. So you have a time frame of the 30th to the 31st. This week, the XRP ETFs could be going live. And if for some reason they do get delayed, I am putting 100% odds that they will be live by next week. 100%. This is it. This is the moment that we've been talking about, that we've been warning about, that we've been preparing for. And you better believe it's going to do something to price. And when it goes down on the initial launch, or buy the rumor, sell the news, I mean, this is lining up perfectly. We'll get into this when I show you the charts too. Buy the rumor, sell the news into the Fed rate cut, which will be taking place tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. We get the Fed interest rate decision. And then you get to buy the rumor, sell the news on the ETFs as well. Now, I believe...
Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news related channel. And believe me, today is going to be a fun and exciting episode. And somebody said you need the rally cap. Rally cap has been added here on Good Evening Crypto, guys. But during today's show, we're going to break down a bunch of phenomenal topics. As we showed you last night, I had Mikkel on the live stream. We broke down the breaking news that there is a real possibility XRP ETFs could be going live by Friday. Well, this morning, David Schwartz came out with some really interesting information talking about how Ripple could sell the rights to receive the XRP tokens from the escrow. Why would somebody like David Schwartz be making a comment like that? There could be major things in the works here, not only for Ripple, but for the United States government. I've also got a really interesting update in regards to the Litecoin and HBAR ETFs that went live yesterday. Now, I showed you guys during the show, we had Litecoin being very critical of how I covered the news because I said HBAR getting a big launch on the NASDAQ today. Litecoin goes, why didn't you pay us any attention? It is this information right here. And it said, I said, Litecoin went live on the NASDAQ yesterday and had $1 million in net inflows. That's peanuts. And this is what I call rage baiting for the XRP community, right? Litecoin, they're very outspoken. They're very critical on X. We're doing the same thing in the other direction here. But I said, for context, 5 crypto/spot hybrid ETFs have gone live here in 2025. XRP's Rex Osprey, 38 million in day one. Dogecoin's launch, 20 million. Solana yesterday, $70 million. HBAR, $6 million. And Litecoin, only $1 million in net inflows yesterday. That's what I'm going to be breaking down later on in the episode. Why do you believe, guys, and I'm asking the live chat here, why do you think Litecoin would have such low demand out the gate on their Wall Street launch? It's because what is Litecoin really building? What is sustainable here? What is the future of the Litecoin network really going to look like? If those questions could be answered, I'd love to start talking about some Litecoin because I actually know a lot of people in our live chat that have Litecoin from prior cycles or something. And listen, Richard said it best. I'm not going to say it out loud, but I really believe it. There are certain projects that are going to survive and thrive here. And there are other projects in the crypto space that are going to dwindle. You're going to see depreciating demand, and you're going to see Wall Street companies ignore projects like Litecoin, even when they have these ETF products being launched. But if you believe we're going to get an XRP ETF this week, meaning by October 31st on Halloween, it would be Christmas on Halloween. Throw a 1 in chat. If you think it's not going to happen, throw a 2 in chat. We are only 4 minutes into today's show, and we've got 1,500 live listeners here joining us. If you're excited and enjoying this content, show us some love, smash that like button. And for anybody who didn't see last night, I did have the first ever interview on Good Evening Crypto. I know a lot of our listeners or daily listeners were there. Mikkel obviously had a great appearance. That was super fun. And we talked again. We're going to try to do more collaborations, guys. It's really exciting to kind of be able to interview other people. And I wanted to let you guys know some of the collaborations that I have coming over these next couple of weeks or months. Austin King, Sal Gilberti. We're going to have Matt Hogan. We're going to have industry executives. So we're still going to have content creators, Zach Rector, Jake Claver, people like that. But I'm really excited about getting some insight into the Wall Street analysis of crypto, right? Guys like Sal Gilberti, who have launched an XRP ETF in the United States, that's a big one. And somebody said, Abs, you need to ask Quincy Jones. That's another one. Quincy, we got to have Quincy back on the show. Sometimes there's just so many great people out there. You just forget about him. I'd love to have Quincy. Waters Above. That's somebody else I haven't collaborated with in a really long time. Would love to have him back on the show here, guys. But if you didn't catch the news last night, Zach Rector did a great breakdown of why we could see XRP ETFs going live by Friday. And I'm going to read a brief tweet. I'm going to play a short video, and then we'll get into the somebody said, Abs holds thousands of Litecoin. Listen, if I held thousands of Litecoin, I'd probably talk about it more than once a year, right? But look at what Zach Rector had to break down yesterday. HBAR and LTC ETFs are going live tomorrow. And obviously, this is an update from a few days ago. The issuers included language in their amended S1 forms that lets them automatically go effective 20 days after filing. So this is the important thing here, is that when we look at where the crypto space is evolving, this is going to be the standard. There's going to be a set of rules and a set of guidelines. And as long as you abide by those new listing standards, your product's going to be approved. It won't be subjective. It won't take a vote from the SEC. It'll be as simple as meeting these rules and guidelines and getting your product launched inside the US. And that's taking effect right now. Even though the US government is shut down, we had 2 products go live yesterday. We had the HBAR product, we had the Litecoin product. We also had the Solana staking product go live. And if you didn't hear me give that update, we had Solana, $70 million in day one. HBAR, $6 million on their initial ETF launch. Litecoin, $1 million, guys. There's not a lot of demand for these products. And if you just think about the context, right? When companies like Grayscale, when companies like Franklin Templeton launch these products, you're going to see 50 million, 80 million, $100 million in a single inflow. But we're going to have dozens of these. We're going to have Grayscale and Bitwise and Franklin Templeton and 21 Shares and Canary Capital and Tucrium. There's going to be dozens of companies that are offering the spot product. So really take that into effect. By the rumor, we may see a big run up into the launch of these ETFs, short-term sell-off based on the news, and then the long-term price appreciation begins, where these steady inflows just exist in the crypto market, and they're here during the good times, and they're here during the bad times. And when you look at the liquidity wick from about a week ago, this was one of the bad times that we were talking about. Now, what's really interesting as we go through this next update is, remember this, the S1 amendments that were filed took place on October 8th through October 10th. Well, that coincided perfectly with this massive liquidity event that took place in the crypto space. Could that mean that big players were positioning themselves to get XRP exposure before this ETF launch? I'm not sure. We're going to break it down later on in the episode. And reminder, the big title of today's show, Ripple confirms they can sell the Xrp Escrow. I'm going to show you guys that latest update from David Schwartz. And somebody said, what's your take on this? The end game is the United States government. But if you're excited, smash that like button. I believe we already passed 250 likes on the episode. Huge thank you to the best community in all of crypto. Love and appreciate you guys. Here's Zach Rector's analysis. XRP ETFs coming by Friday. Here it is.
Boxes are checked, and these ETFs are on track for launch. Now, James Safer breaks it down, and he shows us, he highlights the wording that was used, right? Canary filed this way first on October 7th for both Litecoin and HBAR, and Bitwise did it on October 8th for their Solana ETF. Then Grayscale did it on October 9th for their Grayscale Solana ETF. Now, this was a post from James yesterday. He says, I couldn't find anyone else who had added this language yet. So I said, well, looks like we need to dig. And so that's what I did this morning. And what I uncovered was this pre-effective amendment number 2 to the S1 for Canary. And this was filed with the SEC on October 10th, 2025. Now, I already sent this to my Discord group this morning, and I said, guys, this looks like we might be going live here soon, this week. As I'm recording this update, I just got the DM. It's going live today. Folks, this is happening today. This is breaking. And so what we're looking at right here is the verbiage is right here. And I'm going to read it off to you. It's very small writing right here, but I'm going to read it off. The registrant hereby amends this registration statement on such date or dates as may be necessary to delay its effective date until the registrant shall file a further amendment, which specifically states that this registration statement shall thereafter become effective in accordance with Section 8A of the Securities Act of 1933, or until the registration statement shall become effective on such date as the commission acting pursuant to said Section 8.8 may determine.
All that legal jargon's unnecessary. Really what happened here, guys, there was an expiration date, there was a timeline, and it's coming to an end starting on October 30th. And there was a lot of rumors last night that this product was going to be going live today. I didn't buy into that because when I read the actual document that was filed by Canary, it showed that October 10th, 2025 deadline. Now, I do want to ask the live chat one more time. One's in chat if you believe we get an XRP ETF this week. Two's in chat if you think it simply does not happen. But my belief is it doesn't really matter if it happens in the next 5 days, the next 7 days, or the next 30 days. We are really, really close to an XRP ETF being approved here in the American markets. And from that point forward, we're going to be tracking the inflows on a daily basis and really seeing how does this impact the price. Someone said, big thank you to Dennis for the $2 donation. Are they angling to issue all 7 XRP ETFs at one time? Here's what would happen. If they did that, we would see, I'm guessing, north of $250 million at a minimum on day one, right? And that's a really low number. A lot of people out there are going to say, Abs, I think it could be 2-3 billion. And I agree. But if I had to give you guys the lowest possible number, if 7 XRP ETF issuers, including Grayscale and Canary Capital, Bitwise, and the 4 other companies, can't think of off the top of my head, if they all go live at the same time, the liquidity wave that would come behind this market would be the moment that we've been waiting for. And that's why I opened up this episode with that clip from Zach Rector. He made a great statement. And it's a great speech, quite frankly, where it's like, we've been waiting, we've been patient, and very soon our time will have arrived. So here it is one more time, Zach Rector.
Price standpoint, what's taking place here this week, why we are so certain that the spot XRP ETFs will be live either by Friday, either you're looking at Thursday would be the 30th, right? This is Tuesday, October 28th. So on Thursday, it would be the 30th. So you have a time frame of the 30th to the 31st. This week, the XRP ETFs could be going live. And if for some reason they do get delayed, I am putting 100% odds that they will be live by next week. 100%. This is it. This is the moment that we've been talking about, that we've been warning about, that we've been preparing for. And you better believe it's going to do something to price. And when it goes down on the initial launch or buy the rumor, sell the news, I mean, this is lining up perfectly. We'll get into this when I show you the charts too. Buy the rumor, sell the news into the Fed rate cut, which will be taking place tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. We get the Fed interest rate decision. And then you get to buy the rumor, sell the news on the ETFs as well. Now, I believe
so
price standpoint.
Again, don't be overly focused on what happens right after these products are launched. Yes, I'm anticipating these inflows will have a positive impact on the price. But as you guys could see with HBAR yesterday, there was a run up in price prior to the news. The products launched that went up about 10%, and then a correction came into the market. What we're looking for is sustained inflows and sustained demand. And that can only be proven over a long period of time. But I love what Zach had to say about this influx coming in all at once. I remember, and I'll hold myself accountable, right? There's nothing that I would love more than for XRP to get these ETFs approved in the last 2 days of October and have this month close in the green. Because prior to October, I had covered very consistently that my belief was October was going to be a green month. Now, I didn't anticipate the government shutdown, and I definitely didn't anticipate a huge liquidity event like we experienced. But what I know for sure is that when these products are approved and these Wall Street companies are buying tokens like XRP, that is new demand entering the market with the same supply circulating out there. And so it really is a real simple equation of supply and demand. And whether you fall into the camp of somebody like Jay Claver, who thinks that we're going to go to these massively higher price targets, or you're in a more moderate camp where you're just excited for $4 or $5, our moment has arrived. We really need to see these catalysts play out. And the two major catalysts we've been discussing, the launching of the XRP ETFs, so we can track the inflows and see how it impacts the price, and the passing of the Clarity Act. Because from that point forward, big companies are not only going to be buying these assets, they're going to be using these assets to improve their everyday business models. So you want to talk about utility? Anybody here who believes in the utility narrative? Those are the catalysts that we're waiting for. And that's what I'm most excited about. When we finally have the Clarity Act, real world utility, sustained utility will be in the crypto market for years to come from that point forward. But the title of today's episode is what I'm going to begin getting into next, guys. Ripple confirms they can sell the XRP escrow. And you read that correctly. David Schwartz gave a pretty interesting update in regards to this, and that's what I'm going to break down for the next portion of today's show. But I wanted to play just 35 seconds here of this Kevin O'Leary clip. And we showed it yesterday, but I didn't get to give you kind of my take on it because I just opened up the show with the clip. What's really interesting about this Kevin O'Leary video is he says the quiet part out loud. We have not heard people like Kevin O'Leary, these traditional Wall Street investors, talk about the flaws that exist in the Ethereum and the Solana network. And earlier today, there was an article that got a whole lot of attention. It was the fact that Western Union had partnered with Solana. And Solana even went as far as to what's the word I'm looking for? To kind of stoke the flames of the XRP community here, criticizing the fact that they don't need a bridge currency. What Solana's doing is even better. And so I'm going to show you guys that update. But earlier today, Western Union came out with a big announcement. The stablecoin is launching on Solana. And when I did a little bit of research prior to the stream, we're also going to get into the FOMC meeting. I just realized that in my notes. I haven't touched that yet. We're going to get into the 2 p.m. FOMC meeting, the anticipated rate cuts later on today. But as I was looking kind of prior to the stream here and figuring out what really happened with this acquisition, well, this morning, or I should say yesterday, Western Union announced that it will be launching its USD PT stablecoin and digital asset network exclusively on Solana in a partnership with Anchorage Digital as the issuer. Now, the rollout is targeted for the first half of 2026, focusing on faster, low-cost remittances for Western Union's 100 million global customers. But there was another rumor that got a lot of attention. That's like what I'm looking for. I'm just locating the tweet in the background right now, and I just found it. This person said, and this is a member of the Consensus Foundation here, and I'm going to give you guys the live update. Just bear with me. I wish I had pulled this up prior. They came out and said that the quiet part they're not telling you out loud. What are you not reading here? Solana had to write a $25 million check with $25 million in liquidity stimulus for only a 6-month exclusive. It's tempting for legacy organizations to de-risk their proof of concept with a big check, but they'll regret it when their chosen blockchain goes down and millions of payments are offline. So I don't know. This is unconfirmed, and I looked for other sources on this, so I'm hoping that this is an accurate report here, guys. But if this is true, this is completely misleading to what we were told initially on the launch of this. What happened here? It's pay to play. It's just like Ripple and MoneyGram, just like Stellar. They're paying these large companies to use their blockchain products and bring in new clients as well as utility. It looks like Solana's copying the playbook. And shout out to guys like Mark Yusko, Wall Street companies that are going out and saying, Ripple's playbook is smart. And what I'm anticipating is that other companies are going to follow. Now, Ripple obviously is sitting on nearly 40 billion XRP tokens worth north of $100 billion at the time of this recording. But Solana is going to do the same thing. Maybe they're not sitting on a massive escrow like that, but if they have a few $1 billion, they're going to use that money to get themselves into the traditional market and absorb a large share of their clients. So guys, let me know, one's in chat if you believe Solana had to write the $25 million check. Two's in chat if you think this is fake news, and maybe we should be playing this video.
Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
And that's one we're going to continue to go back to here, guys, because that's one of my favorites. But let's play this Kevin O'Leary video where he's calling out the fact not only is Ethereum too slow, Solana is too slow, according to Kevin O'Leary. Here it is.
9 months, lots has changed. Number one, we had regulation on stablecoins, which is effectively digital payment systems. That's very important. It's now law and legal. Number two, we've been talking about putting Wall Street onto blockchain for 12 years. It's never happened because there's never been a good use case to do it. And nobody wants to rebuild the infrastructure on compliance on Wall Street until now. Now, let me give you an example. If you think about now that digital payment systems are legal, and let's talk about a use case for consumers, your phone. Now, if you could be right beside your favorite coffee shop or pizza joint or burger joint and simply say, large Mac, mac and cheese, fries, that's it. That's all you have to say. Now, why will that work? Because your phone through AI knows where you are. It knows where they are. It has a digital payment system on chain, and it sends that $4 order in a nanosecond right to the register there. They know who you are. So when you walk in a minute and a half later, you pick up your burger or your slice or your coffee or your groceries or your dry cleaning or anything you want. The only thing holding us up on this vision, but believe me, there's a lot of people trying to solve for this, is the blockchain itself Ethereum, everybody knows that name, and Solana is also popular over the last 3 years. They're too slow because you're going to be doing 100 million transactions around the world every minute. And that's going to get very stuck on those chains. And that happened a couple of weekends ago in Ethereum when all of a sudden it was just a mess when they had a big correction in the digital markets and the crypto markets. So we've got to build off that, and that's coming soon. But I'm really excited because the Clarity Act will be law probably in the next 90 days, further defining the law towards this vision I'm giving you.
And we've been saying that for a long time. I made the joke. It looks like Kevin O'Leary is stealing our talking points here. He brings up the Clarity Act, and he brings up the fact that Ethereum, the fact that it's the second largest digital asset in the space today, it's only because smart contracts and stable coins. And now many of these larger networks, HBAR, XLM, Solana, they all have stable coins and they all have smart contracts. Ripple's prime is behind it. That's what I would say about, not Ripple, sorry. Ethereum's prime is behind it. I would say Ethereum's prime was actually probably 2020, 2021. That's when it really had the best narratives kind of working in its favor. But guys, I want to hear from you. Do you agree that Solana is going to have an issue? Because my belief is the same as kind of the analysis that was shared in this prior update, where she said it's tempting for legacy organizations to de-risk their proof of concept with a big check, but they'll regret it when their chosen blockchain goes down and millions of payments are offline. So again, another reason to use the XRP Ledger, another reason I think more people are going to be onboarded into the XRP Ledger ecosystem and not the Solana ecosystem. And I showed you guys the update from JP Morgan yesterday. I'm not sure if I kept it in my prep for today's show, but it was pretty obvious. I mean, JP Morgan even predicted $8 billion for XRP spot ETF and $6 billion for Solana. So 25% more demand for the XRP product once it's launched in the American markets. And we got a huge update in regards to both these currencies. As the CME group reported, XRP and Solana futures just crossed $3 billion in open interest. And I got to give a special shout out to Walmart Abs in chat. Hashtag Walmart Abs, guys. KG, I know you're going to back them up. For those who know, they know, my friends. But back to the episode. CME Group reported XRP and Solana just crossed $3 billion in futures open interest. Investors are using regulated futures to tap into the crypto markets growing safely. Now, I'm anticipating, once again, if there's $3 billion worth of open interest in the futures contracts, there's going to be $1 billion in the spot products, if not way beyond that. And we heard Canary Capital CEO, who has already filed for an XRP ETF, said that he thinks on day one, and this is an actual ETF issuer here, guys. He said day one, he's anticipating $2 to $3 billion worth of inflows for XRP. So if that occurs, get ready for some massive momentum in the price chart. It's not going to be buy the rumor, sell the news. It's going to be buy the rumor, buy the news for the XRP community. And we did just pass 4,000 live listeners. If you're enjoying today's content, show us some love, smash that like button, let the YouTube algorithm know you enjoy this show, you enjoy this content. These guys, maybe they know what they're talking about. Maybe they're just entertaining, but we appreciate each and every single one of you. And we already passed 440 likes on the episode. So huge thank you to everybody who showed up for today's show. Now, again, the big topic, we're going to break it down starting right now. Ripple having the ability to actually move the escrow. We got an announcement out of David Schwartz kind of elaborating on this. I'm going to have to go to my Twitter once again and kind of pull up the update for you guys. But what do I think the real end game is here? If you remember, I think it was 6-8 months ago at this point, I was reporting on a video from Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary of the United States during the Trump administration. And he was talking about the Nostro Vostro accounts. And what are the Nostro Vostro accounts? It means that a tech company is legally allowed to gift the United States government access to code, access to technology. So ever since I watched that video and I kind of read that, stuck in my mind that the smartest move for Ripple, what the real end game is for Ripple, the company, is to get XRP in the hands of the United States government. And I think that if I was able to figure this out, somebody said gratis vendor, right? I think that's what I called it, right? I hope I called it correctly. But that's what I believe the smartest end game is for the United States government. Ripple gets XRP in the hands of the US government. It begins being used as a treasury asset, and then you can start using it for its actual use case. So I said Nostro Vostro. I apologize for that. It is the gratis vendor. I meant to say the gratis vendor account. And I can actually show you guys a great video here from Howard Lutnick where he's talking about this. So gratis vendor XRP, and I posted this a really long time ago. I'm going to pull it up and play it for you guys because it's relevant for today's episode. Once again, if you're enjoying this content, would be very much appreciated if you could smash that like button. Here's the gratis vendor video that I was saying. So U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick explains how the government can leverage a gratis vendor. A gratis vendor is an approved vendor for the U.S. government that gives product to the government. It does not sell it. Could Ripple be gifting XRP to the U.S. government as software code to modernize settlement systems? That's what we're going to talk about next. Here's the video.
I tell them what a gratis vendor is.
Yeah.
Because I was not going to go into the government. I was doing transition.
What is a gratis vendor?
A gratis vendor is an approved vendor for the United States of America that gives product to the government, doesn't sell it.
Okay.
So therefore, I don't have to go through the whole process of becoming a proper vendor because you're giving it to us.
Mm.
And then if you give it to Article 2, which is the president's stuff, then the president can accept it, right? Because it's give.
Sorry, Howard, what's an example of this? Like just to make
I write some software.
You write some software.
I write some software for the Commerce Department to do a better job of XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
You just give it to me. And then I do QA on it, and I can take it. If you sell it to me for $1, we go into government hell.
Right, the whole rigmarole.
Right? But if you give it to me, right? And then I set up, so I said, I'm calling it Doge. And I registered the name Doge.
You said that.
Forget about the Doge, guys, but that's exactly what I'm anticipating here. And keep that video in mind as we kind of go through this XRP update. This is an update from David Schwartz that was put out about 48 hours ago, but it was a response to this initial tweet. So Vincent Van Code put this out on Twitter, and I'm going to read it directly for you guys. He stated, XRP's total supply is really 100 billion. Of course, 35 billion is locked away. So all market cap uses is 65 billion times the last traded price. Yes, Bitcoin uses total coins mined to figure out the supply, but this is wrong. You have 1 million or more Satoshi wallets that act like an escrow, not to mention the millions lost or put into cold storage for the long term. Deduct that and you'll see at least a 15% less Bitcoin. Sorry, you'll see a 15% less Bitcoin in market cap. This is sort of the sort of stuff that goes on and why market cap is a pointless lie that you were programmed to think is important by the likes of Binance. So again, what are they stating here? There's some facts in this statement. That market cap is very misleading, right? Market cap is not, if Bitcoin's $2 trillion, and let's use Bitcoin instead of XRP as an example, that does not mean $2 trillion came from outside the crypto space and bought Bitcoin. It means that through the order books, through the natural supply and demand effect that takes place on these exchanges, there was a free exchange rate that led us to a place where Bitcoin is worth $2 trillion. That could mean $1 trillion did that. That could mean $500 billion did that. That could mean $100 billion brought us to a $2 trillion market cap because it's all about the order books. That's what our newer listeners need to understand. And our veterans know this very, very well. But I think it's worth hitting it once again, is that the order books are what define the price. The circulating supply is what defines the price. Think about it this way. If there's 100 billion XRP, 35 billion are with Ripple. How many of these are actually on exchanges? Well, Jay Klaver says it's like 2 billion, right? Jay Klaver says there's like 2 to 8 billion XRP at a maximum that are really out there in the open market. Well, that means, according to the price today, that's only about 25 billion worth of demand in order to move us to those dramatically higher price targets. So I hope that makes sense, but let's continue with what the update was here. The reason why Bitcoin uses total coins mined is because these coins can be liquidated at any moment's notice. Are you implying that Ripple can liquidate their escrow and that we should assume it's possible? Well, this caught David Schwartz's attention and he responded with this. And this is the important part of the update here. Ripple could sell the right to receive the tokens released from the escrow or even sell the accounts and the escrows complete into, but the XRP can't circulate until their release dates. So again, there's 1 billion XRP released from the escrow every single month. About 70% of that goes back into the escrow, and 30% of that is sold to ODL. So it's sold to companies like Western Union, for example, that want to get exposure to this asset. They don't want to buy it off exchanges. They can go directly to Ripple and get a discount rate on that XRP. 30%, so 300 million tokens, that happens every month. 70% goes back into the escrow. Now, what really caught my attention here, tying this back into the gratis vendor, is that if the US government were to receive for free just one of these escrow payments, meaning let's not even say they get the full billion, let's say they give them the 30% allocation, 300 million tokens for free to the US government, there's a legal way to do so. So this is now on the table. This is now worthy of being discussed here, not only in the United States, but for anybody who holds the asset XRP. I'd love to hear from you guys. We did just hit the 30-minute mark. Do you believe we will see the US government owning the XRP token, guys? But we are going to do a deep dive on this for today's episode. I've got more to say on this, but I'm saving it for the content that I'm going to record and release at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I could not be more excited about the fact that Ripple is not only working with the US government, but they're working with the treasury company that's going to absorb additional demand off the open market. So there's some yeses, there's some nos. Put a 1 in chat for yes, put a 2 in chat for no. I am thinking in the long run, Ripple will get the United States to have exposure to XRP. And it's not even really about Ripple. If you think about what Donald Trump said this March, it was only about, I think, 9 months ago, Donald Trump came out and said, we're creating a strategic reserve with XRP, Solana, and Cardano, and we will make America the crypto capital of the world. We're not that far away from a statement like that. That really says how close the relationship is. Our sitting president is tweeting about XRP. Could not be more obvious. Now, I do want to get into some of the donations for today. Huge thank you, guys. We do have 5,000 live listeners. US owning XRP will kill the entire project. Let's address this comment. Nobody wants the US economic leverage, but the US economy is collapsing. You are just grasping at straws. Now, what's interesting is that we did a video breakdown on this yesterday, if you want to go and check it out, to the person who made that comment, where the United States government there's a lot of evidence. They're going to use stablecoins and they're going to use crypto to offset our national debt. So to say that the US economy is collapsing so that that means they shouldn't own XRP, there's no correlation there. I'm not sure if that's what you meant to say, but there's absolutely no correlation there. So Abs, they already have some. Yes, they do. And I reported on this. The US government owns $7.8 million worth of XRP right now. Yes. But imagine if it got $300 million worth of exposure, right? We want that exposure rate to increase. And we also want to see the US government talking about why they own these assets. Big thank you for the donation. Richard commented, thank you for the $20. Much appreciated what you're doing for us. God bless you, Abs. God bless the Good Evening Crypto community, guys. Massive thank you to Richard for the $20 donation. And I'm excited. I'm happy that a lot of our listeners are still in that optimistic mindset. When I'm looking at some of the other communities out there, and maybe this doesn't apply as much to XRP, people are really bearish, right? Our community, we're level-headed. We're focused on the catalyst, not whether the price is 240 or 260. Who cares in the short term? We're waiting for big growth, exponential growth, and I think we're getting really close to that moment. Ben Benny said, Abs, I'm following up with you on my question on BlockDAG. Did you look into it, and what's your opinion? Thank you. I have not done my BlockDAG homework, my friend. I apologize for Benny Ben. I'll get to it, though. Listen, it's been a very busy week, but I'll get to it. I promise you that much, Ben. So thank you very much for the $5 Canadian. And I appreciate the fact that you're always on these streams. I will do right by you, and I will do that BlockDAG research. If anybody in our live chat can provide some content there that knows about BlockDAG, feel free to provide that insight for the short term, and I'll do my research and get back to you. Thank you for the $5. Dennis said they are aligning to issue all 7 XRP ETFs at one time. And you know what's great, guys? If we see that and you want to ask me what I'm anticipating, it would be something like this. It would be something like a 200 to 400% gains in a really short period of time for XRP. And I've said it for a really long time. When we break out, I think we get up to about $4.50 on that initial breakout. So something to keep in mind. And a big thank you to 7 Dennis. Eric M said, smash the like button. He sent the super sticker. Big thank you for the $3 to Eric. And big shout out to you for always being here on stream. And Dennis said, vet confirmed, Solana paid for a short-term exclusive. So again, it's a pay-to-play market, right? Got to do what you got to do, my friends. And Solana looks like they're handing out those $25 million checks. I'm not taking any. Keep your Solana money. Your fake news, my friend. But we love you guys. We appreciate you all. If you enjoyed the content for today, smash the like button. If you didn't, go and check out the interview that we did with Mikkel last night. We talked about some XRP price targets. We talked about what we're anticipating for the ETFs. It was a really great collab, and I'm looking forward to many more. Like I said, we got some great guests prepared, and we did just pass 600 likes. So huge shout out and thank you to everybody who shows up, comments, hits the like button, you are the best community in all of crypto. And I say that with certainty. Big thank you to Dave. He said, can you talk about the Solana and Western Union partnership? I did do a breakdown on this prior, but just to hit kind of the exclusive news. So what Dave probably saw was Western Union is launching their stablecoin on Solana, and this will be exclusive on the Solana network. That's what was being reported. But Camilla here from Consensus Organization commented what you don't read. Solana had to write a $25 million check with $25 million in liquidity stimulus for only a 6-month exclusive. It's tempting for legacy organizations to de-risk their proof of concept with a big check, but they'll regret it when their chosen blockchain goes down and millions of payments are offline. So you asked me what my opinion is. It's a pay-to-play market. First of all, big thank you, Dave, for the $5. Much appreciated, my friend. But what my opinion is, it's a pay-to-play market. And what Solana did, they wrote a big check to get their product integrated into Western Union. Now, here's the real question. Will it be sustainable? Will we see more people using Solana? I don't think so. I think people are going to find themselves on other blockchains. And I've been very outspoken about this. Chainlink, AVAX, HBAR, Cardano, XRP, Ondo, these are the projects that I really believe are going to absorb a larger market share. Somebody said 82 frowny face. Listen, if you're 82 years old in the live chat, don't put a frowny face. You are way ahead of the game, my friends. But just wanted to give a huge thank you to you guys. And like if you haven't already, check out Merlin. Do me a favor, click on the link below. Check it out, 30 days, completely free. What's the best thing about this product? You're going to create an exit plan. You'll figure out exactly what you can make during each crypto bull market. And I created this fun exit plan I've been showing on the show. If we hit $100, a $250, and $1,000 price target, we would be selling 10,000 tokens in this fake portfolio. That would get us about $3.5 million in profit with an estimated tax check of over $800,000. So I just realized I'm kind of covering the important information on screen here. But the important part of that, guys, is it's going to give you a realistic perception of what's possible too. So even if you just want to check it out, click on the link, 30 days completely free, and you're going to have a realistic perception of what your portfolio can be worth in a short period of time. Want to give a big shout out to Charles. Now, Charles, I was thinking of you watching the Steelers highlights last night. What's up with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, the Steelers, I feel like the Steelers' destiny is to go 500 every single year. So thoughts and prayers to you, my friend. As a Patriots fan, I feel for you. But Charles said, GEC rocks. Congratulations on the continued growth. Thank you very much, man. I actually really appreciate that, guys. And I'm super excited. Working my butt off, showing up every day, and I'm just going to keep working hard. I love doing this channel. We did just pass 30,000 followers. I mean, we're only 5 months old. So I want to give a huge thank you to anybody who who shows up, comments, hits the like button, or just watches. If you just enjoy the channel, that's all you got to do here, right? Somebody said the QB is the problem. The QB is not the problem. It's the DeFi, right? If only you had Drake May. That's what I would say. But guys, we love you all. We appreciate you. We got 5,300 live listeners here. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button. Stay optimistic. Stay realistic. Keep showing up to programs like Good Evening Crypto here. We're live every day, 11 a.m. And you're going to get a 5:30 p.m. update. But what's important, guys, whether the prices are going up, they're going down, or they're trading sideways, we're going to be here consistently on Good Evening Crypto. So go out, touch some grass, hug some family. We love you guys. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you in the next one.
Going to be so proud of your president, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. See, the bottom line is... Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
So if you're looking to do the same strategies that we implement here on Good Evening Crypto, I would advise everybody sign up for Merlin and click on the ITrust Capital link below. Now, why do these two ideas play off one another? Merlin is going to allow our listeners to understand where they should be taking profit in this market, and ITrust is going to allow our listeners to take that profit tax-free through an IRA product. Now, that's not the best part about this. we are giving new clients a $100 sign-up bonus using the promo code GEC9. So I would encourage everybody, click on the link below the video, use promo code GEC9, and set yourself up for success during this crypto bull market.
But the challenge, as you know well, is the U.S. has had this very hostile. The Biden administration has been waging a war on crypto, and I think an unlawful war. Courts have agreed with us on that. And we're finally seeing that kind of unlocked in a Trump embraced crypto, and crypto embraced Trump. And I think we're seeing that reflected